David Hall. I'm the Managing Director of Cloudy IT. I'm joined by Steve Walker, who's Head of Local Government Services. Steve, you want to say hello?
Yes, good morning, everybody. Glad you've joined us on this very wintry decisions hour. And we're looking forward to showing you some of the great features in the product. And it's great, again, to have members of the decisions team here, as David's just said.
Thanks, Steve. And so Steve, he heads up local government services, so he looks at products like decisions and our various apps for local government as well, allotments, cemeteries, parks, all sorts. And he's also a councillor and a chair for his sins himself, so keeps nice and busy and really understands, obviously, what councils, clerks, officers, councillors go through, and how important it is to get the product right. So we're also joined by Mia, who is sort of one of our meeting specialists and our point of contact at Decisions. Mia, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi everyone, nice to meet you all. I'm a digital meeting specialist at Decisions, as David just said. So my role is really to support Cloudy as our partner with whatever they would need, and also to make sure that they're successful in helping councils have better and more effective meetings.
Brilliant. Thanks, Mia. And yeah, you do a really good job. I think all of us have really had a good year of helping councils find this great product and make the best use of it as well. So, and then we also have Gabriella, who will be doing a demonstration of the Decisions product. So Gabriella, if you want to introduce yourself as well.
Sure. Yes, I'm one of the customer success managers in Decisions. Like David mentioned, today I'm doing a short presentation of what Decisions can do for you. And in my current role and my day-to-day job, this is what I do most of the time. I show people how to use Decisions, I answer technical questions, and share with them best practices.
Brilliant. Thanks, Gabrielle. Great. Okay, well, let's jump straight in then. So we are joined today by a couple of councils. We've got Amanda from the Clerk at Hamble Parish Council. Amanda, I can see you there, so thank you so much for joining us. You were sort of one of our slightly early adopter of Decisions, so you sort of really went out there at the front and took a lead on this, and it would be just great to hear a couple of words about Decisions from your perspective and the challenges maybe that you've had with it, and the benefits you're starting to see at the council. I don't know if Angela's joined us yet from Lanedi, but if she doesn't,
I haven't seen her yet, David.
Not a problem at all. So so Steve, you've been working with Amanda at Hamble, and I mean, Amanda, do you want to just sort of talk a bit about why you chose Decisions and what you're starting to see at the council? You are on mute, just FYI as well, just so you know.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Yes, so it's probably about 12 months ago that we started our Decisions journey. We, following the COVID lockdown, did look at how to improve resilience across the whole of the organisation, and upgraded all of our IT, and part of that was to include Decisions. I think probably in the early days, there was quite a lot of me using the software and a bit of trial and error. And the thing I would say is actually the system is very intuitive. Once you've spent 5 minutes on it, actually, it's quite easy to build an agenda very quickly. The bits that I've probably struggled with a little bit more are how actually you get consistency across different types of meetings, where information's sometimes held. I find that slightly confusing. And the final bit, I suppose, which we still haven't rolled out, is the use of voting, but we are moving towards that position. But in terms of providing a consistent style and an easy way of producing agendas, minutes, it's brilliant. It's really good. But I think I'd almost say before you start, particularly for council meetings, before you actually set it up, you need to think quite carefully about whether or not you're going to use OneNote, whether you're going to use Planner, whether you're going to use Microsoft, because actually there's software behind the use of Decisions that once you get into it, you almost find it quite difficult to disconnect from and switch. But I think as long as you know which of those products you're going to use, actually life just becomes so much easier. It really does. It's much more automated and much slicker. So that's the overview from Hamble.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you so much. And just so you know, Decisions sits on top of Microsoft 365. It leverages, the storage, the security, the applications, and that's why it's sort of so well priced really, because it's leveraging Microsoft's cloud, not its own. But also it's fully integrated into all these different apps, such as Amanda mentioned, like OneNote, Planner, SharePoint. So and a lot of councils aren't really fluent in these apps really, actually. But we do find Decisions is a great way to actually accelerate your adoption of 365, because you're not forced to, but you kind of have to. And it's not quite as scary as you think. And when you're using a product like Decisions, which is fairly intuitive, and with a bit of support from Steve and Mia and the team, you can sort of get it right. And Steve, I suppose just from your perspective, working with Amanda, you've been assisting, trying to improve the meetings. Amanda's done a really good job by herself, hasn't she? Really, she's just sort of, we didn't hear from Amanda for many months, and it was like, wow, you're using it this much, and you've been working a bit with her recently to overcome some little hurdles that she's been having. So what's your opinion on it all?
Yeah, hi, morning, Amanda. Yes, we were discussing this previously. So you have two distinct journeys in Decisions. You've got the one of the clerk, the deputy clerk, the assistant clerk, or maybe council secretary. The construction of the agenda and its supporting documentation is a very different journey to how the councillors would experience the use of this. They are the consumer of its output, the agenda pack, along with any supporting documentation. They receive that, they view it, they interact with it normally. Again, the same with the minutes. The journey for the minutes, both taken during a meeting and the production of them afterwards, are distributed to the councillors in a very familiar way. So it's not a massive step change for a councillor. They still receive an agenda and an agenda pack, and they still receive the minutes. What is really, really good in Decisions, and this is one of the things we're working with councils like Amanda, is to slowly introduce the use of the app either in Teams or the Decisions app natively on a mobile device, allowing them to interact with the agenda and agenda pack in the meeting electronically, where they can make their own annotated copies of agenda items. So you may have an item that you're looking at, you can put your own annotations on it that are private to you. That's really, really useful. And it's, again, this journey, the clerk's journey to producing the agenda and producing the minutes, then over to the councillor and how they can work really, really sort of smart with this software. And again, like I say, the demonstration that will come up, Gabriella will run through some of these bits.
Right. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thank you, Amanda, for coming on, just talking briefly there about it all. Every council is different, every clerk, every councillor, so, every organisation is slightly different, but we tend to find, we know the process end to end of, running a meeting has these little pitfalls, that you might struggle with, duplication of tasks and inefficiency, or problems with accessibility and access to files. Decisions isn't obviously the magic, it doesn't solve all the problems, but it consistently solves most of them. And what we do love about the product Decisions is their investment in R&D is quite impressive. So they're always adding more features. So it's really exciting. So maybe Angela will turn up a bit later. We'll see what happens. We've got an engineer over at Angela's offices today, so I don't know if that's disrupted things. Look at their connectivity, but it's really good to hear from a Welsh council, because obviously the Welsh are voting virtually and voting online, through the app, which is another great feature of Decisions, that it has a secure voting module, which means people can vote remotely on their mobile phone. And it's all included in the minutes, which we'll run through. So great. Well, let's continue on. We'll be talking through sort of what is Decisions, very high level. Steve will talk about sort of some key aspects, building the agenda, requesting topics from councillors, meeting engagement score, really interesting. How many people have engaged with the agenda, opened a file, and it gives you a rough bit of metrics around that, which is good. And obviously then you're running your meeting in terms of the action points and agenda items and etc. and then finalising all of that as well. So we've got a really busy schedule, as I mentioned, because at the end we're doing a prize draw, a bit of Christmas fun. We're giving away a lovely hamper, which Decisions have kindly donated. And we've also got some equipment, which we've got here at Cloudy, some AV equipment we're going to be providing off as well. and also we've got a sort of discounted offer on decisions as well. So that's really exciting. What I would ask though is we're going to be putting a list of all the people in this room today, and there's a number of town clerks. If you could please, if your name has town clerk written in it, just type in your name, just so we can put it into a spinny wheel at the end. So yeah, please type your name into the chat, and then we'll use that in the spinny wheel. Okay, so just a reminder, we'll do it just before we do the draw anyway. So great. And then as I've mentioned, we've got a practical demonstration, and we want to share best practice and then announce the special prize for the various councils. So we're just going to talk through end to end what decisions does here, and obviously Steve has talked about that. It helps with the process of creating the agenda, preparing for the meeting, running the meeting, and managing all the tasks from the meeting. It's built on top of Microsoft 365, so it's incredibly integrated, secure, and also quite easy to use. As Amanda mentioned, it's quite visual, which is quite nice, quite intuitive. So Steve, I'm going to sort of sit back now, and you're going to talk, and I'm just going to flick through the slides. So sort of a bit like Chris Whitty, I'll pass it over to you, and you can say next slide, please. So
I was just trying to remember what Mr. Whitty was using. It was next slide, please, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So right, yes. So and again, thank you to those parish and town clerks that are putting their names in the chat. I know that David then can jump on that while we go through this. So decisions, how best to use it. And again, Gabriella's going to show us the highlights of it. So what you basically got, you've got your Teams meeting, you've got your Outlook meeting, depending on how you are using 365 to run your meetings. As we can see here in the example on the screen, we've got a planning committee meeting. So what we can do is create an agenda for that meeting series, or a single agenda for this meeting. So you may have a one-off planning committee meeting, it may be an extraordinary, maybe your APM. So that you could create a single agenda for. But if this planning committee meeting met regularly, it might meet monthly, it might meet quarterly, you can set an agenda for the series. And what this then allows you to do is from an agenda template, and again, Gabriella will show you a brief template, a brief overview of how they work. You can then pick all of your statutory items, you can pick all of your standing items that you have in an agenda with a couple of mouse clicks, and it's there, and it's ready, and it's running. You can then put on your items that are unique to that month, and once that's done, that's most of the hard work ready to go. So if that standing agenda is the same across all of your meetings, be it full council, be it a committee, or maybe a working group, or a task to finish, the copying from the previous month's agenda over and setting your document up and saving it, decisions takes a lot of that hard work out of the process by knowing, okay, this next agenda that I'm using, is from the previous meeting. It will just move it over and update its numbering, update the date, and all you've then got to fill in are your unique items. So we've got a couple of examples on the screen here. So we've got a full council meeting there for September and October. We've got an overview of the agenda, so we can see, again, to most people present, it's fairly standard items that we have on there on the right. And we've also got, you'll notice the names have been tagged in, so you can see who's opening the meeting. If you've got guest presenters, maybe a principal authority, or you have someone from the neighbourhood policing team coming in, you can highlight those on the agenda. So they know when they're up, and anyone else that's present, either locally or maybe if you're broadcasting your meeting, can see who is who. And in the small insert there, you've got what the agenda looks like printed. So for our Cloudy Council, it has a very, very similar format to what you're working with now, and Decisions offers the ability to customize a agenda and a minute template to be a reasonably good facsimile of what you're currently using now. Next slide, please, David. So here, one of the brilliant features of it is the ability to request from councillors or working group members topics. So you've got your agenda coming up. You might put out a call for topics to councillors. You can do that within decisions directly. It can notify everybody that an agenda is being made, and if you have anything you wish to discuss on that, you can have them included in a format that you can fill in all the details, add your supporting document, submit it. The clerk or deputy clerk receives this, and they're then able to build that into that current agenda, or maybe hold it over to another meeting. So suggest and request work in similar ways. You can suggest a topic, so anyone with access to the decisions meeting is able to go in and suggest a topic that stays as a draft until approved by a clerk or deputy clerk. And request topic is where the clerk would go out to councillors and say, look, is there anything you want on this month's agenda? And as we can see there for the Cloudy meeting, it's coming to me. And is there anything that, anybody happens to want to include on this month's agenda? Again, uses email, so it's familiar to a lot of people who receive those requests by email. Or if you're transitioning to using Teams, it can appear in the meeting chat for that particular meeting series. So again, really, really useful. It leverages the power of 365. Meeting engagement score, as we've seen here, it's a very, very useful way of telling you or hinting to you some things that you could do with your agenda. So the score improves. The more you engage with those people that are part of the meeting, the more the score rises. So again, agenda quality, it checks that you've got all of the items either ticked or filled in or entered, and then it works out how the meeting would flow. We've got the time there. We can see the 15 and 30 minutes. So a great useful feature for councils. You've only got your 2 hours normally for a meeting. You can set times for each agenda item. And if you're running the app with the timer, you can see how long in each segment you've got left to go. So again, a really, really useful feature. Please, David. And the minutes. So creating the minutes. Now, Amanda mentioned this earlier on. You've got a couple of ways of doing it. You can do it into a Word document or OneNote during the meeting. So having spoke to several clerks recently, a lot of them tend to take notes in their minute book and then transfer them into the electronic minutes. If you are using decisions, as we can see here, this is shown in OneNote. You can have OneNote follow the agenda, so it automatically creates a structure of this agenda. So there we see on the 15th of November that our full council meeting, we've got all our items in there. You are then able to type into each section the minute as you go down the meeting. And at the end of that minute, you can move on to the next item and so forth, all the way down the agenda to the end. This speeds up the minute creation or the minutes creation, allowing you to merge all of that you've captured during the meeting into your draft minute document. And I was saying to a couple of clerks recently, where a clerk produced the minutes this way using OneNote, and a relatively light planning meeting. And at the end of the meeting, merged it, had the final minute document and distributed it to the councillors. Minutes after the meeting had finished, the draft minutes were then available. So it's possible to be really, really agile using this decisions package. The other one we've got in there is a task that's been assigned. So again, we might have an outside body report, and there's a neighbourhood community police officer, to attend the next meeting. Residents have raised something. This allows you to set against that agenda item a task in Planner. You can tag someone in, so it might be the clerk, or you may have a councillor who has responsibility for the neighbourhood, or an outside body liaison. They can use this to keep track of it. And at the next meeting, you can look at the outstanding actions list. I hope Gabriella can probably show the Excel version of that with some tasks in it, which is really, really useful to put up and say, where are we with these tasks? We now know where we are with these tasks because we're using Planner to keep track of what we're doing. So again, it's a really, really useful feature. Again, leveraging another 365 app that we've all got. David, please. And then, as we mentioned earlier on, finalising the minutes, as we can see here, there's a very quick overview for those that have either seen our previous ones with where we've shown decisions, or Gabriella will show you very, very shortly. The minutes are pulled in from OneNote, as we were showing earlier on, using the decisions plugin into Microsoft Word, where we can add in all the details. We can mark anyone as absent. That will then produce the in this example here, the unapproved minutes for distribution. Again, exceptionally quick process. It's all in one application. There's no needing to swap about. Decisions manages all that for you, and it's very, very seamless. Once you've got your template and your structures done, the actual tasks involved in minute taking and creation of minutes is much, much quicker using decisions. And I think Amanda will probably agree, if she is still with us. It's quite efficient in how it works. And this was one of the bits mentioned earlier on. I think Gabriella's off to a demonstration now, David.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So thank you, Steve, for that. It was just a bit of a high level overview of the key steps for decisions resolves. And I'm sure everyone wants to see what actually decisions looks like and how does it work. So I'm just going to unspotlight you, Steve. There we go. So Gabriella, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yes, I am. Everything is
Excellent.
good.
Excellent. I'm just going to spotlight you for everyone so they can sort of just see you. Yeah, if you want to share your screen and just walk through some of the key steps that decisions does really well. Thank you.
Okay. So first, what you're going to see is actually my Outlook calendar. And there's a reason for that. We're just going to go step by step. And we are going to start basically with creating an event in our calendar, because I think it's, even though it's something that we all do, it's important to start from here. So let's go ahead and imagining we're having a Canfor meeting. I'm inviting my attendees. And John. So this is all I need to do at this stage. I don't need to do anything else. And I'm giving myself 1 hour for this meeting. Standard process so far. What happens next is that I'm opening my Teams environment, like Steve was mentioning. My Decisions app sits here in my Teams environment, but I can also use it as a single web portal, and you can access that from here, top right, if you wanted to. I prefer to use it from Decisions. It's all of the other integrations are Office, so it's just easier and it makes a lot more sense. So what we have here is the standard interface. On the left-hand side panel, I have an overview of everything that I have in my Outlook calendar. There are a couple of filters already applied. So, for instance, out of offices, cancellations, and appointments are not there. So anything that doesn't have a location, generally a link attached to it, be it Zoom or Teams, it won't appear. So now that I've added a meeting, let me just refresh. And you will see that it has already synced with my decision. So here is the meeting I've just created. It's already here, and I can start working on it. We've seen earlier that there are a couple of options. We can start creating an agenda. Imagine you are a participant in this meeting, so you could just go ahead and suggest a topic without necessarily participating in the creation of the agenda. You can take some personal notes. And as an organizer, you could also request other participants to propose topics for this agenda. So let's start with actually creating an agenda. The first thing we need to do is decide where do we want to store the content. So normally in your team environment, you'd have a couple of teams and you would choose one of them. So today I'm going to choose this one, and I'm also going to choose one of my channels. I prefer to keep it on general, and we can move on. So here is us in the first agenda creation step. Nothing is saved for the time being, as you can see. And if I were to expand here, I could also see who are my attendees. Now, starting from scratch, let's say the first thing I want to do is decide how much time do I need for my first topic. I perhaps need 5 minutes, so it shows you in increments of 5 minutes, but you can change it. So if I want 8 minutes for this, I can do that as well. As a title, I'm just going to say opening remarks. This is what normally we have. As a first topic, I have a quick description. So let's say apologies, introductions, and perhaps announcement. So I can format this as well. Let's say for this one, I like bullet points. I can add files and links to it. Let me just go ahead and upload a file. It can be anything you want, and links works pretty much the same. Then you have some hashtags. They work a bit like social media. They could help you identify when has this topic come up in the past. All you need to do is just click on it and you'll pull a list of all of the times when you've used this hashtag. Then here I have...
Okay. Right, do you want us to go put them in a notepad for you, then, mate?
Okay.
Yeah, I've muted David. Don't worry, Gabrielle.
No, I wasn't sure if it was a question for me or anything. So let's continue. What we have here is basically what do we hope to achieve by discussing this topic? Are we planning to make a decision? Are we just going to discuss it, or is it just for information? These can be customized, so you don't have to have just these three. We can change them into for approval, for instance, or whatever else you might be using. For this one, let's say it's just for information. And last but not least, what I want to do is add a presenter who is going to be in charge of this topic. This time is going to be me, since I'm the organizer. But for instance, I could add somebody else. Maybe I want to add David. So you see he's a presenter, but he could be a contributor. This is, for instance, I'm the lead presenter, but David can help me and add anything else that I may be missing, or we work together on something. So here you have the option of saving it as a draft or saving it as all together. Saving it as a draft only allows certain people to view the agenda. If you save it all together, it becomes visible to all participants. So just going to do save directly, and this is for a reason. We'll see in a second why. Taking a bit of time to save. Right, so here we are. We have saved our agenda, or the beginning of our agenda, but we haven't actually notified anyone. However, if I go back to my interface and I refresh, I now have a summary of my agenda visible, and this is visible to everyone. Let's go back to the agenda. And we mentioned earlier that we could actually save agendas as template. I know there's not much in here, but I don't want to populate more because I also want to show you how to actually use a template. So let's imagine that this is a recurrent agenda. This is a template that we want to use again. How do we save it so that we can reuse it? What I need to do is access the meeting menu, and I have the option of saving the agenda as a template. Once I click, I can give it a name. I'm just going to call it Council Meeting Template and save. So now it is stored for further use. How do you actually go back to use a template? First, I'm just going to need to delete this one, refresh a couple of things, and then we should be able to go back and recreate the agenda, this time starting from a template. So again, we are back at square one, creating the agenda. We are choosing our location. And now, instead of populating all of this, what we want to do is just go ahead and click on Select Template. And here we have a number of options. You would have your personal templates, then you'd have your team templates, and then templates that anybody in your organization can use. So I'm going to choose a template that is already prepared for us. And here we are. You will notice that everything has been saved, including tags and everything. The only thing that's not carried over are attachments, because presumably you will need different supporting documentation depending on your meeting. So you don't actually need to carry over attachments. If this template had, for instance, presenters attached to it, those would be visible as well. So on welcome from the chairman, if I was the presenter and I had saved it with me as a presenter, this would show up as well. So that saves you even more work. Let's go ahead and save. And here, even if we have a template, Steve was mentioning earlier, we can still modify it. So here, for instance, if I wanted to add another comment, I could just go ahead and click, and maybe I'll say, Amanda, to take note of this. So I'm saving my topic. This has changed my agenda for today, but it has not actually amended my template, so I can still go ahead and reuse it. Now, let's add a couple of presenters, just so that we have something in here, you will understand in a bit why. Let me add, I'm only going to do a couple of them. And here I'm adding 2 people. So this is our agenda ready. It can be distributed to other participants. And sometimes, depending on the type of meeting, you may want to do this as an agenda pack. And Decisions offers this. In Decisions world, it's actually called a meeting book. So let's go ahead and create one. We start again from the menu, and you have the option of creating your meeting book. And it starts with offering you the option of changing your naming convention. It will open a Word document. Okay, it's taking a bit of time to load. And for this one, you actually need a separate plugin in order to do the steps that I'm about to do. And it's called Meeting Documents Manager. So here, actually, before I do this, I would like to actually also have an attachment. I think it'll be useful for you to see this. Let's say I want my attachment again here. And maybe I also want a PowerPoint, just so that we see that there are quite a few options when it comes to this. You'll understand in a second why I've decided to do that. Remove a few things, and let's restart. Okay. Okay, we are back here, and in a second you will see my content, and here are also my 2 attachments that I've just added. You can choose to have a cover page, you can choose to exclude certain elements if you wanted to. I also want the description, so I'm just going to go for the full thing just to better showcase it. Now, your template might look a bit different. Mine is just a standard one that we use internally. Yours can be customized, and it can look very similar to what you normally use. So here are my information about the meeting, my cover page with all the description. Then I have a table of content that will be populated a bit later, and then 1 topic per page. I also have my attachments that I've added here on topic number 3. I'm happy with the way it looks. I'm just going to create now the final copy of it. And I'm doing that by merging. It creates a PDF file. This step might take a bit longer, depending on how many attachments you have and how heavy they are. Okay, this is now ready. So here, I already have the option of sharing this via email with other participants. Otherwise, if I go back to my decisions, it sits here and I can open it straight. And when I open it, it looks like this, pretty much the same. And you have this very handy navigation panel on the side. There are 2 notable differences. One is I now have a table of contents which shows me what is what, and it also shows me where I have attachments. And let's say I want to go to the attachments. And the great part about it is that you can actually see the content of the document, not just the link. So you don't have to click anywhere. Everything is just in one single nice place. So this is your agenda pack. everybody's ready for the meeting. We have now started the meeting and we want to record some action points and perhaps make some resolutions. So I'm just going to go ahead and create an action point somewhere. Maybe here, let's say that somebody from the public has brought up the question of the opening hours at the recycling center. So somebody needs to follow up on that. I'm going to say recycling center here as a task, follow up. My description would be, please liaise with the relevant parties. It's linked to topic number 4, but I can change that. My due date is by default a week from the time when I set it, but maybe I want it later or sooner or later. So let's say I want this in January because we're coming up to Christmas, it's a bit too short, and I can assign it to one of the participants in my meeting. So I'm just assigning this to myself and I'm saving. So it's now been added. You'll see here a little rectangle appeared with a 1 next to it. This means we have one action point to follow up on this topic. And if we move to the top, we now have this, tile, which shows how many tasks we actually have linked to this specific team here. So I can either open it in a planner and see it in a Kanban board view with the time of the meeting and what the task was about. Or I can open it as an Excel file. I generally use online, and I have pretty much the same elements, especially when you have quite a large number of action points to follow up on. Excel, I find, works better because you can filter, you can see very easily what is overdue, etc., etc. So what a lot of organizations do is maybe we have this council meeting today, and then next month we want to see what action points were followed up on and what is outstanding. So we don't have to open the minutes or anything like that. We can just go to the planner. They will always live in here. Similar for resolutions. Let's say we are making a resolution on topic number 5 minutes. So I'm accessing the menu of this topic and I'm clicking on new decision. And here, let's say it will be a new template. Okay. And let's say that we decided to standardize the minutes templates. Here, if your council is able to vote digitally, this is something that you could, for instance, submit for voting. So you could have your decision as proposed, then you have a vote on it. Let's say everybody decided that agreed that this is a good idea, and it becomes a final decision, which we can formally record. Same as for tasks. Here we have now a decision with a 1 next to it, so we know there is a resolution on this point. If we go back to the top, we have a tile for decisions as well, and we can view the whole list of decisions by just clicking on list, or we can, same as for the action points, we can actually open it as an Excel, similar to the other one. Again, easier for filtering and just easier to see all around. You see what agenda item it was linked to, what date it was taken, and what was the name of the meeting. So here is us. We've had all the conversations that we needed to have. We have recorded all action points. We have recorded all resolutions. We now want to produce minutes. And that is pretty simple to do. All I have to do is just click on the minutes tile here at the top. And I have the option of Word and OneNote. I'm just going to go for Word today. Same, we are being proposed a name, but we can change it so that it suits our needs. And let's save. It looks fairly similar to what we have seen on the agenda pack. And that means we actually start with selecting the content. So here we have a panel on the side, and we can select what we want to include. Do we want the agenda description? Do we want our resolutions and our action points in there? And we can also mark people as absent. Let's say Jonathan was not there today. Let's go ahead and merge. Okay, once we have merged, all our information has been populated. We now have the name of the meeting with all the relevant information, and we have our topics listed in here. And here, topic number 5, we had made the decision earlier. It's already recorded in here, and we also have a task. It's already recorded in here. We have a review option. So if we wanted to share these minutes with anybody, just for them to have another look or maybe make comments, we could share it via email. We are not going to do that today. And if we're satisfied with everything, we can just go and complete and create a PDF version, same as for the meeting book. Again, we can send it via email, or going back to decisions, it will appear now here in this tile, and we can open it and share it directly from here. And you now see that your meeting is locked, meaning that this is all that we needed to do for this meeting. We can move on to our next one. It is complete, and this completes the cycle as well. Now that's all I had to share with you today. I've seen quite a few questions coming through. Is there anything that I needed to answer, or have you taken them?
Yeah, Gabrielle, thank you so much. I think Steve's been busily sort of replying to questions there, and apologies, you could hear me in the background trying to frantically organise the prize draw at the end. So yeah, that was really good, Gabrielle. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
We haven't got long, have we, to sort of summarise it, but I think you did a great job there. So let me just share my screen now, and I can sort of move things along. As we mentioned, you know, decisions is great for exactly what Gabriella showed there, which is to build, share and manage your meetings. And obviously councillor experience is key, and it has a couple of ways that a councillor can interact with the agenda. So I'm just going to quickly show you before I share my mobile phone actually how decisions looks in Teams, because we've actually added decisions to this meeting that we're all in now. So what I'm going to do is just drag across, and apologies, I know it's always a bit awkward seeing yourself on a camera or sharing a screen, but you can see here the decisions agenda D, and you can see here the agenda, and we've got the time tracker, and that's ticking down, and we can turn that off or on. But what happens is when it gets to nearly 5 minutes, or the agenda item 5, it will flag up and say that as well. And from here you can actually run your minutes and stuff straight from Teams and do your follow-up. So this is the decisions app built into Teams, and this is what you would see if you were joined remotely. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my mobile phone and show the council's experience. So decisions works with council issued devices, or it works with personal devices. So it works both ways. And the good thing is that with decisions, you know, the council will still receive an email with a PDF they can open, but if they want a bit more and they want to, you know, kind of have their own annotated notes, etc., they can do that. So I'm sharing my mobile phone here, -9, as you can see there. If I go up here, go to decisions, this is the decisions app, and I can see here all of my up and coming and all of my past meetings. So as a councillor, I can get to my meetings. Here's our meeting right now, and as you can see, it's sort of it's ticking down in time. We're on agenda item 4. We're going to go to 5 soon. You can have your private notes here with OneNote, and you can have your items to vote upon here as well. You can see votes. This is where you do your votes. And equally, if you wanted to go to your annotated agenda, you go to the one here. If I go to open, I can then have my own copy here, which I can interact with and circle and type notes, etc., etc. So there we go. So these are private notes. No one else can see that as well. So the Decisions app is really clever at just keeping things organised, accessible, and secure as well. So a lovely little app there for hopefully makes the life of councillors a lot easier. So if I go back to sharing my screen here, hopefully everyone can see up on the screen here my back to the main presentation. So that's the decisions.
That's not showing, David.
Oh, hasn't it? Okay, let me do it again. It's just having a moment. So I'm actually going to change my sound from my headset to my computer now. So bear with me. Sometimes, just so we do this draw. So right, there we go. So I've just changed to my computer sound. So if I just share my screen again, include sound. And here we go. Great. Okay, so let's move on through the presentation then. So here at Cloudy, we've put a number of packages together with decisions for councils of all sizes. We truly believe that, you know, all councils want to run more efficient meetings. We know it's your bread and butter. So we've got these various packages that we've put together for yourselves. So we've got sort of mini council, small, medium and large. And those are the sort of annual licensing costs associated. You can download a free trial from clicking on that QR code. We will show the QR code later on, so fear not. I don't know, Mia, if we could put the link in the chat as well, maybe so people could click on it. But there's a 30-day free trial. Equally, Steve is more than happy to sort of hold your hand through the process of getting decisions set up. So once again, I don't know, Steve, if you want to put your booking link in the chat, then someone can book a call straight with yourself, or they can just find more information from our website. Right, so a bit of fun now. We're ahead of time, which is good. We can always do some Q&A at the end as well. So we've got 3 prizes up for grabs. We've got a Logitech BC9950 desktop video conferencing solution. So it's great for a small meeting room you can use. We've also got a lovely hamper provided by Decision. So thank you, Mia and Gabriella. And then we've got for new customers who haven't sort of used Decisions before, a special offer, which is a discounted installation as well as subscription for the first year. So we've been going through the numbers and we appear to be 1 council short. Okay, so please do, I'll stay on the screen for a couple of seconds. If you can't see your name on there, please put it in the chat or just raise your hand and we shall add it. We've got, I think, 18 listed and there's 19 people. So I'll give it a couple of seconds for
I think it's Amanda says it's Amanda.
Is it Amanda on that one?
Yeah, there's no Amanda.
Ah, right. How can we forget Amanda? This is terrible. Okay, thanks, Amanda. That's good. I
think, and Barbara's got her hand up as well. I don't think Barbara appears on your list.
Okay, good.
Yes, I do. Sorry, I've just spotted myself.
Okay, good. Great. So we're all on there. So let's just close up there. Select everyone here whilst I try and multitask. So we've got this fun.
You've got me on there twice.
Oh, someone's on there twice, are they?
Yeah, Michelle Salazar. You've got me under Town Council, and then I'm
okay. Thank you, Michelle. Cheers for that. That's good. Yeah, you'd have more of a chance of winning then. So that's very honest of you. Great. So there we go. Let's put everyone's names into here. And that's everyone in there. So right, well, good luck everyone. I think if we'll play for the sorry, Jane's on twice. Can we see that?
Pottery St Mary.
Yeah, so just checking you're on there.
There, and at the top, Jane at the top.
Okay,
Jane there.
Brilliant. That's another one. There we go. That's tidied up. So good. Well done, everyone. Good to keep us on our toes. So right, I'm going to hit spin. So if we play for the hamper first, I think that would be great. So here we go. Good luck, everyone. Congratulations, Amanda. And sorry, Karen, that was so close. I couldn't believe it. I thought, oh, the tension. So brilliant. So we'll be getting that sent over to you. Ryan will ask if you want it sent to your office or your personal address. Not a problem at all. So we'll get that sorted. Okay. Right, I'm going to remove you from the list now, so you can't win it twice. Apologies. You seem to be on a lucky roll at the moment. So great. So if we play for the video conferencing camera now, if that's okay. So we're going to do the prize draw for the video conferencing camera. So here we go, and good luck, everyone. Great. Congratulations, Lowestoft. And I know Lowestoft have just invested in an owl as well, so you can have loads of bits of AV everywhere. So congratulations, Lowestoft. And yeah, we'll get that sent over to you as well. So well done. I didn't do remove, did I? Where are we? Here we go. Okay, finally, we've got decisions a discount pack on that as well. So as I mentioned, this is for new customers. Apologies if there are customers on here who have already got decisions or looking at it, but we'll spin the wheel anyway and we'll see how we get on if one pops up that we already have on the books. So here we go. Right. Brilliant. Congratulations, Emma. We'll send you over a certificate for that. And if you choose to use it, it's always there. It's available for the next 12 months as well. Okay. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much. I'm just going to go back to my presentation. It was just a bit of fun, really. It's Christmas. Wanted to give some stuff away and make it a bit different, really. But we obviously really appreciate you taking your time out of your busy schedules and come to join us so close to Christmas. We've obviously mentioned we've got some special offers. We've put regular events on anyway, so do come and join us. Steve runs what we call our Happy Hour session, where we talk about council apps that we're developing. We've got some really exciting ones in the pipeline. We also have a community program where we develop apps with young people in your communities to help with digital skills and you know, sort of learning new skills, etc. So but if we've got actually a few minutes left, and if anyone has any questions they want to ask Mia, Gabrielle or Steve or myself, please do. Let's switch back to my headset. So I mean, there was quite a few questions in the chat, and you know, I know Steve was busily replying to them all, but if anyone wants to have a private conversation, please do reach out. Steve, did you put your booking link in the chat?
I will do that shortly.
Yeah, great. So we really hope you liked the session today and found decisions useful. We believe there's some great benefits, you know, end to end of a product like decisions, and we love working with me and the team because they're always bringing out new features. We couldn't talk about it all today, but there's some really cool stuff around the horizon which we're looking at and trying to make your life a lot easier. But thanks so much for joining us. We hope you all have a wonderful Christmas and New Year. I'm sure take some time out after what's been a really busy 2022. I don't think 2023 is going to look any different. So I think it's just a case of you know, getting a rest in, and then we can all sort of hit the ground running. But thank you so much for joining us. If people want to stay a bit later on and have a chat, we'll stay on the call a bit longer. But otherwise, thank you for joining us. The people who have won prizes, will get them sent out and we'll be in touch. But otherwise, have a great Christmas and New Year and speak to you soon. Bye-bye. Cheers.